Okay, this was the first very interesting slide to me, I think, that jumped out was the renovation opportunity for charitable giving is significant. Renovation related. So there's going to be a founder suite donation of 80 million, one-time capital donations of 4.3, and then it says philanthropy slash naming opportunities 50 million. And this is kind of one of the first points that I wanted to like highlight on this deck that stood out to me. To me, I don't even look at the word philanthropy. I see naming opportunities, and I think Sheets Field at Beaver Stadium or Utz Field at Beaver Stadium or Wawa Field, as I suggested. Here's my idea. You take the east side of the stadium, the east half of the field, and the west half of the field. The east half of the field is called Wawa Field at Beaver Stadium, and the west side of the field is called Sheets Field at Beaver Stadium. And then we can really knock that issue out. Steve's laughing at that joke. I think that's really interesting, and I think this is we are not going to get Paterno Field, nor do I want it. We are not going to get Paterno Field at Beaver Stadium. We are going to get insert big company here. And why I say this, sorry, I know this is a long rant. I'm fired up today. The why I say this is Brett McMurphy today tweeted, Texas State Stadium renamed to UFCU Stadium after a 15-year deal for $23 million. If Texas State can get $23 million for their stadium, which I have no clue what it looks like, how many people it holds, I cannot imagine what the stadium or field naming rights to Beaver Stadium would be. So to me, what I'm saying here is I think this is going to be something that keep an eye on. I bet that there's going to be naming rights to the field. The money's sitting there for the taking. You keep the tradition of Beaver Stadium. Everybody's going to colloquially still call it Beaver Stadium. Nobody is calling Acrisure Stadium Heinz Field, is calling Acrisure Stadium. They're calling it Heinz Field. Still, it's what's gonna happen. So I know that was a long rant, but I just wanted to highlight that. What are your thoughts, Steve?
Texas State's football stadium,
Yeah.
formerly Bobcat Stadium, has a seating capacity of 30,000 people. So there you go. 23. So 30,000 is worth 23 million over 10 years. Is that what it was? Is that what you said the deal was?
It was 15 years, 23. So like
Okay.
a little bit more than like $1.5 million a year.
Okay. Yeah. I think the naming opportunities is something everybody's going to point to in the media, right? And they're going to be right. Like that's where it's at. That's where the easy money is for athletics, right? It's a big donor, it's a name. And whether they're creative enough to do entries, right? You've seen that at stadiums, like this is the whatever area, this is the entrance, this is this gate, you can do that with 4 different partners at different gates. That's 4 different asks and 4 different cells from either athletics or Elevate or whoever. Naming rights or whatever else is one ask, right? And one big thing, and it's not going anywhere, and it's going to be on TV a lot, and it's going to be around, and it's going to be huge news, and people will still call it whatever. So I would not be shocked if that happened. I don't think Paterno Field is happening. Like I just don't. I just think it's fraught in so many ways, and in terms of the vote that happened today, I think in some ways the lines that's a hint at where the lines for the vote would be if it came up, right? There's 5 votes in favor of it.
Yeah.
Maybe, right? And people will grumble and whatever else, but those people that are grumbling aren't given enough for it to not happen. And we may have a guest in the podcast at some point speak at that. For me, as someone who lived it longer than you, the whole naming of Paterno Field is not what I was understood that Coach Paterno wanted. Coach Paterno was about education, was about his name's in the library. Like that was the thing that was celebrated at the time. So for this change now that we have to recognize him, I get all this stuff that happened and what's not there now and whatever else. But my understanding, what I was told face to face with him a couple of times in interviews is, oh no, it's about the library. It's great. Like that's okay. Well, if that's what the dude wanted, like why are we suddenly whatever?
Steve took the words out of my mouth.
So no, I think that could happen. I think, there'd be a lot of angst if it happened, but God, it's the easy ask, right? Like of all the money and whatever else, forget the portico, forget the seating area, forget the club seat section. It's the name on the place, right?
50 million does not like, obviously that's a lot of money, but that's not a big ask. Go look at like any of the NFL stadium deals, and obviously it's a little bit different because those NFL gate stadiums can host Super Bowls and there's more media attention. And but we talked about this with Brad Keane when we talked about Highmark. Like there are companies willing to fork over the cash for this type of publicity, and I guarantee you there's probably, who knows, maybe Pat Kraft's phone's already ringing of businesses that.
And I think if you're a fan that is worried about your ticket price, going back to your angst a little bit, right? If you're worried about that, you want to name a sponsor.
Yeah.
You want someone to carry the load and say, yep, that's what it is. And guess what? I mean, I didn't look at the deck. I looked at the web. I'm looking at the website that they have a revitalization website. And this stuff, as from a PR standpoint, just always entertains me, right? Like there's a frequently asked questions section. If you look at those questions, none of those questions have answers, right? Like they're like, oh yeah, that's a good question, and we're going to figure that out. Like, stop it. Like, why stick questions and answers if you're not going to answer them, right? Even if it's, well, ticket prices go up. Our intent is to hold the line on most ticket prices with the help of donors and whatever else. Okay, say that.
Yeah.
Right. Then you get those people in your corner saying, oh yeah, find some donors because I don't want my ticket price to go up, right?